I'm sitting in where I normally do my podcast. My husband lit the wood burning stove, and black smoke started pouring out of it. Oh my God, anyway, I don't know what happened. Anyway, luckily that was about an hour ago. It's all recovered now, but the whole house stinks.
It's all these things, and I always say to my guests, I've got 3 children running around the house, so at any moment one could walk in here. So hopefully we get through this without disruption. But
yeah, whatever. Anyway, the fire is out, and the alarm's going off, and we didn't know there's an alarm in this room, and it's going fire. We're like, we know there's a bloody fire.
It's all action. No, good. Well, no,
anyway,
thank you for dealing with the fire and not postponing. And
no, that's fine.
But thank you for. I mean, we're recording already, and thank you for getting back.
Are we?
So quickly? Yeah. That fire chat's going to be in this because that is real life. That's what too many people cut out, all the best bits.
Honestly, if this was podcast and you could smell, I just smell like I've been in a fire.
Smellcast.
Anyway, lovely to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on. And obviously this came around because there's so much to discuss with you to sort of cram into 30 minutes, but obviously Doddie Aid and everything that people are doing throughout January. And it was when I saw you, I'm hosting the event at the regatta event at Britannia this Saturday. And I saw you there on the list. And I was thinking, oh, Louise would be fantastic for a guest on the podcast. And here we are. So yeah,
thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to the rowing. I'm not a rower, but I have rowed and that's about it.
But it's one of the disciplines that isn't sort of the one that you are.
It's not in a triathlon, is it?
Yeah. It's not one of your specialist topics.
No, I did. I've had a really lucky life, and I did for Sport Relief in February 2020. So just before, you know what happened, that pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Sport Relief did a rowing challenge, and we were in Salford, and I was in. I can't remember what team. I was in a team with Jay from at the repair shop, and he was the only person I was remembering my team. I think maybe Dermot Murnahan from Sky. And anyway, we rowed in Salford, and he was injured. So literally he took 2 strokes and he's like, oh my gosh, my back's gone. So we had to stop and get him out of the boat. Anyway, so that's my rowing experience so far.
And what should we expect from you? What sort of shape are you in? Is your ankles okay? Because I've been doing my research. I've been sort of going through the podcast, the history. There's been a few serious injuries in your career thus far.
Do you really want to know about the injuries? Gosh.
No, but how are you going to be on Saturday? Because I need to prep. I need to know how much I can sort of niggle in there and get in. How are you doing, Louise, when you're going for it on a
when
road
I'm really
machine?
feeling it? Well, I mean, endurance wise, I should be okay, shouldn't I? So I'm used to long events. So I had a knee operation in July, and that is really good. I mean, so good that hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to be running the London Marathon. So yeah, my ankle is also better. So yeah, I'm not as fit as I have been, but I'm okay. Should we leave it like that?
Absolutely. But it's obviously 3 hours of rowing. There's going to be eight teams there. So you're in a team. I've got the teams, but I'm not allowed to disclose.
Have you?
Yet. Yes.
Oh, can you not say?
I can't disclose yet. But no, it's looking like an exciting event.
Am I the worst in my team?
No, you're leading that team. You're a captain. I think it's your team's named after you, I think.
No.
I think so.
Oh my gosh, this is terrifying.
I don't think I've got that wrong, but no, you've got nothing to worry about. There's a range of ability and a range of fitness, I'm sure, that will be turning up on the day. But there are some international rugby players, former TV presenters, and
brilliant.
So it's going to be great fun, and I'll be shooting around all morning interviewing, and we're live streaming the whole event. So there's other rowing crews and other rugby clubs from all over the place that will be
amazing. Tell me, I love that I don't know about this event. And how long do I have to row for? 3
hours straight.
You are kidding me.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
You
so had me there.
Oh, that was good. That's my clip. That's my clip that I'm going to send to Doddie Aid tonight when I edit.
Well, the big pause. Okay, what?
Okay,
good. So it's not. It's a relay. Good. I'm really looking. Do you know what? And then I've been involved with and I'm sure you'll mention this anyway, with Chris Hoy doing the Zwift rides for ages. Yeah. And all I know about those events is they're just great atmosphere, great fun. And for example, when I'm on Zwift, I'm at the back of the pack, and obviously Chris Hoy is at the front of the pack. But it's a brilliantly sort of inclusive, chatty, banter, brilliant atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, Doddie Aid's been all about that the last 3 years that we've done it. And obviously through COVID, there was a lot of events, but it gets people moving, doesn't it? It gets people out. The dark month of January and into February we go, as we accumulate these miles from swimming, cycling, rowing, whatever it may be. And in return, obviously, we got straight through the £1 million mark.
Amazing.
And the momentum's been incredible since losing him in November, because his legacy lives on.
Yeah. And it's been that's what I like about it. It's just that motivation to move. And also, I mean, when we're doing the rides, everybody's meant to give I know they're giving more, by the way, but their coffee and cake. And it's just lovely. It's a really kind of brilliantly positive way of doing it, I think.
Yeah. I was looking through the guests that you've had on your show, your podcast, and Kevin Sinfield was on there.
Yes.
What was it like having a chat with Kevin?
What an amazing guy. What a very, what would I say about Kevin? Very, what I like about him is his kind of aura is very calm, isn't he? Very determined and very, I think there's something about that sort of calm focus that you get in a lot of athletes. But so I love talking to him, and obviously I followed closely because I think his sort of challenges when he first started them, they were on BBC Breakfast, weren't they then?
Yeah.
So I followed him then, and he just gets bigger every year, doesn't it? And sort of harder and all the rest of it. And the kind of love and friendship that he's shown has been incredible.
And that's something
absolutely incredible.
That red sofa, I know Mark Beaumont was on the red sofa with you, Kevin Sinfield, but you've seen some incredible athletes sort of meet you early morning throughout that career that you had, haven't you?
Do you know what? So it's really interesting. So so Mark Beaumont was on the podcast you're talking about. Is I'm gonna do podcast, shameless plug here. So my podcast is the What Bike podcast, and that was called Push Your Peak, and actually Mark Beaumont was on that one as well. But no, I mean, I think my passion for endurance sport absolutely goes back to, first of all, meeting those people. I mean, Bear Grylls, Nims Dye. I mean, it's terrible name dropping, isn't it here? But incredible people who I was able to talk to, and I'm so interested in their stories and in what motivates them and what keeps them going, and all about resilience and everything. So I'm sure that is a sort of direct line to me. I mean, what a lunatic I am. I took sport up when I was 45 to think that I could do that, but it's a direct line to wanting to do that, is seeing them and being inspired them and being lucky enough to actually meet them and talk to them.
You see, with that, and your story is so powerful, that the age that you did take up sport. I found an article, and I don't know how
true.
Recent. No, not true. Recent was the word I was looking for.
I go with truth, but anyway, go on.
Well, it's to do. I've got an 8-year-old daughter, 9 next month.
Oh yeah.
And it goes back to, you said you were around 14, 15 when you kind of moved away from sport because you didn't like the way your body was changing.
I mean, let's be totally honest. So this is, again, one of the reasons I do what I do is because, so when I was growing up, I could swim virtually before I could walk. I was a fish. I love swimming, absolutely love it. And I'd, if I had a pool, near me, I'd spend every single minute of the day in it. And when I was at school, sort of 12, 13, 14, rising 15, I used to swim for the school, not for just where I was. I think my mum, whatever, I never swam for county, but I probably should have done. Do you see what I mean? But I swam competitively, and I loved it. I loved the training, and it's kind of strange because I didn't even go to training. I would just go to the pool and train. Do you see what I mean? It's really kind of crazy. A bit like I do now, actually, probably. I loved the training. I loved the racing. I loved winning the races. Loved everything about it. And at age 15, so I was doing O levels. You won't even know what they were, but I was doing my equivalent of the GCSEs. And I had a very vulnerable time in some ways. I had some stuff going on, sort of family wise, which is really complicated. And a sort of girl going through puberty and all the rest of it. Anyway, age 15, I'm doing something that I love. I love the training. I love everything about it. And literally, I just remember looking in the mirror and one day and kind of looking at my muscly shoulders and my upper arms and going, gosh, I've got real muscles and I don't like them. I don't like the way they make me look. And I think I don't look how a girl should look. And honestly, if I could just go back to any girl, like your young daughter, and say, please do not listen to that voice in the mirror. This is so important to you. It was important for my physical health, for my mental health, for the way I felt about myself. And okay, I had muscles, and now I have muscles, and I'm really proud. But just stop, think, and realize that this is really important part of your life, which will make a massive difference. And I know how much difference it makes to me now. So that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about trying to encourage other people, whether they're my age or they're your daughter's age, to keep moving, because it's massively important to your physical and mental health.
It sounds like you might remember was that reason because as a young girl you were worried about what other people would think of you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's what it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, of course. I just thought, and actually, we're going deep now. So when I was really little, I was, I had I guess I had what you would say is like a boyish figure. Do you see what I mean? I've got long legs and long arms and kind of long levers, and I had really short haircut. And I remember being really upset when I'd gone into the newsagents and buying for like 2p my magazine, or those Space Invader, sweets, and the guy serving me said, "Oh, you're right, laddie." And you know what? It just, even now, that it was just devastating. So I think that sort of played into lots of complicated things that were going on for me. And I just thought, right, I don't want to look like that. I'm just going to stop, which is devastating, actually.
And don't take this the wrong way, but that would be during a time where there was no social media.
No, exactly. So imagine what it's like for your daughter or my daughters when there's all these images of how you might think you need to look, and they're mostly impossible and all the rest of it. And we're all, we're all got beautiful bodies. We're all individuals. We're never going to look the same. So yeah, so I was not even inundated with all those kind of like images and stuff coming at you. It was only me in the mirror. So yes, it's complicated, isn't it?
Well, as a parent, it's trying to work out the best ways. Social media, my kids don't have phones yet. It's going to get into their world. They know what Instagram is. They know what all these things are. They do TikTok dances without even being on TikTok. That's just what it's called.
Really? Gosh.
But it's how, as a dad and Abby, my wife, how can we, when they do get into that world, show my daughter that if it is swimming she loves, there's a swimmer and that's how she looks. And this is what she does, and actually find that good example and streamline that into her feed or whatever goes on.
I mean, I think so. My daughters are now 21 and 18, and so they're a bit they've been definitely inundated with all that information and all the rest of it. And I've always, and another reason that I took up sport late in life, because I read some research, and this would be interesting for you and your wife, actually. I read some research which said very clearly that if you want your daughters, so me, age 15, if you want your daughters to continue doing exercise and think that is an important part of their lives, guess who's got to do it?
We do.
Not their dads, though.
Not their
it's their mums.
Okay.
Because they want, good if you're doing it too, but do you see what I mean? The research basically said, if you want them to think that that's what you do as a girl, as a female, the mums need to do it. Because otherwise they'll just go, oh yes, my dad plays football or whatever it is.
But if they see their mum being active.
Yeah. And so I've done that religiously and relentlessly. And for ages, it did not work. It didn't work for years.
When you say to the girls, come on, let's do a marathon, it's slightly different.
No, but anyway, so as it turns out, right, so I'd go as a joke. Literally every time I go for a run, I go, knock on the door, do you want to come for a run? No. Do you want to? I must have said it like 1,000 times if I said it once. And then one day my daughter, big one, said, yes, I do. And guess what? We are doing the marathon together this year.
Oh, brilliant.
So, this is not, there's no point getting frustrated about it. There's no point thinking they won't come. You've just, in my view, just to keep going with the message, and not in a, you must do this, just this is what I do. And that's what worked for me.
That wobble board, we have things around the house to try
to stimulate. Brilliant.
Leave them. And then I'll be sitting here working or doing something and you'll see Rocky fall off that.
Brilliant.
But he's active.
Brilliant.
Tell me,
it's make it part of your DNA, isn't it?
When your daughter said yes for the first time, what was that like for you? Did you do? You're like, oh my God.
I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So and then even funny that so the running thing, and we've run together now and walked together. We do crazy walks together and stuff. It's such a beautiful thing. And then another time in sort of post lockdown or something, because obviously open water swimming I love, and I again I was like, do you want to come open water swimming? And I'd done it for ages. And then one day she said yes, and I was like, I wasn't even serious, and now I'm going to have to go open water swimming.
She called your bluff.
And we did, and we had a beautiful time. But that's how I've managed it. And I'm not saying that's right for everybody, but it's eventually worked. But it took years of doing it.
I'm stealing Lorraine Kelly's questions here.
Are you?
And yeah, but you're basically just giving me a lesson in parenting here. Transition to the kids and how young they are. You've now talked openly about when they've flown the nest and
Oh
how hard
gosh,
that is.
yeah.
I enjoyed that conversation you had, and I loved when I saw a clip of your
Oh,
daughter saying, "Mum would be getting up for work at 3:40 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, and they'd be coming in from the
yeah.
pubs, and
That
you'd
was the
cross
rule.
paths."
It was really funny. So that was the rule. So as I say, they're much older now, but so the rule was that they had to be home before I left for work. So that's 3:40 in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And actually, when you're 20, 21, something, that can be sort of quite early, can't it? But they sort of admitted to me that it was sort of a good thing because they had an excuse. Oh, I've got to go home because otherwise mom's going to be literally furious. If they didn't come home, I tell you what, I would have gone to get them.
It's a pretty good curfew time,
It's
3:30 in the morning.
it's not. I mean, it's let's read it. In my book, it's really late, but yeah. So it is a good curfew time. I'd obviously, if I had an ideal world, I'd probably set it at midnight. But yeah, it was good. It worked really. It was funny. It made them, and they were. Sometimes I think they just got in, but they were back.
What was your sort of daily cycle sleep pattern? Obviously, when you ended at the BBC and you became Louise, that wasn't on the red sofa. Did you still wake up at the same time in the morning, or did you adjust quite quickly?
Not for one day did I wake up at the same time. Not even one day. So I know, and oh my gosh, I know even more now. I knew before I left that the hours were tough. And I loved my job and I'm not complaining at all, but the hours were what was the toughest for me. And I'm still, I'd like to say it's in recovery. I think I might just be really lazy. If I'd had a choice, I wouldn't wake up before 9 o'clock in the morning. And that was when the program ended.
Yeah. So have you seen the program since? No?
Of course,
I
you have.
Of course you have.
Not much at all. Honestly, I still sort of feel a bit like I knew the hours were, I'm a night owl. This is a great time to talk to me because I'm kind of quite awake and, there's a lot, you know what I mean? My brain's working and stuff. So yeah, it's really great.
And the whole, there's so much. The good thing about this is I see you again on Saturday and I'll have a microphone in front of you at some point. So we'll be going out live across
Wherever.
YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere.
Gosh.
You'll be knackered off a rowing machine and I'll be asking you about triathlon distances and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
But that whole transition, you obviously, is it 2013 that you sort of fell in love with the sport and did your first race?
Oh, you've done your research, haven't you? Yes.
But
it was 2012. So I'm sure lots of people probably know that the reason it started was because we did this Christmas challenge in the velodrome against each other, and I'd never ever even sat on a bike with drop handlebars before I went and cycled around the velodrome in a race, which is absolute madness. And I literally that day just changed my life. I went across the finishing line and then went back to that 15-year-old self who loved to race and was like, oh my gosh, I just forgot how much I loved to race. And I don't need to win. I just need that massive adrenaline of trying. Did that in 2012. And then 2013, took up triathlon without even knowing what the actual, I sort of knew the sports, but not even what order they were in. So my first race was in 2012, about June 2013.
And what's your husband saying when you say I've entered this? But what was the family saying?
I mean, it's been a journey. So first of all, after I'd finished in the velodrome, the next week, or maybe even that week, I went and bought myself a racing bike. I mean, the only time I'd ridden a racing bike was in the velodrome, and then I decided I'd buy myself a road bike, a racing bike for the road. And he was and I bought everything. I bought the cleats, I bought the special, shorts, I bought jerseys, I bought everything. And he's just like, you're never going to ride this bike. I'm like, you watch me. And I've ridden that bike across Patagonia, across Argentina, and I think he obviously it came out of the blue. So they've always been brilliant. And he was just like, okay, you clearly do ride this bike. So hugely supportive and just like whatever is next. So it's mom, just roll with it. It'll be fine. Let her do it. She's going to love it. They're amazing.
It's lovely to read about and to listen to when you talk about your story, that your family, they're not just your family, they're your support team.
Oh yeah.
They're your crew.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Tell me
Go on.
about the Portaloo before the race. I like that one.
So that was back in the day when I think it was maybe my second or third triathlon, and I still get really nervous, and things had gone wrong, and I used to get really kind of a bit thrown about things getting wrong, because you've got a lot, with triathlon there's a lot to think about, isn't there, and getting all your kit. And anyway, we turned up late to this race, and I basically decided that because we were late, I didn't want to do the race. And they were like, "Don't be ridiculous." I was like, "I've missed my wave. Can't even go because I've missed my wave." Anyway, they threw me out of the car, got all my stuff out of the car, put me into transition, and I hid in the Portaloo. Because I didn't want to go and race. Oh, it's so embarrassing. And I was in there for ages. And then I could hear Mia again go, Mummy, where are you? And eventually I came out and I pretended that I'd got stuck in my wetsuit, which is also perfectly possible, by the way, for me. I pretended, though, that I'd been stuck in my wetsuit. I said, "Oh, sorry, I've been stuck." Anyway, they then literally marched me down to the water, put me in the water. And of course, then I loved it. But they've been amazing. And that's what you need, isn't it, from family? You need sometimes people to just say, just get on with it. All that time that I've invested, just don't waste it.
Yeah, but there's also the stories, and I'm regurgitating because some of them are so
That's
funny.
right.
When you've had when you've been racing and you know that you get over a hill and they can't see you anymore, so you can stop for a walk. You're so honest about the way you talk and get through. And am I right in saying for what many athletes and triathletes do, it's the joy of taking part?
For me, it is not about winning. I mean, I'm just trying to think. I think I can't even remember. I've won 2 or 3 races in my life. My favorite.
I'm getting to the famous. Tell me the famous one of the race that you did win.
I love this. Is this so? Oh gosh. So yeah. So I've won a triathlon of my age group, haven't I?
Oh,
You know
fantastic.
that.
I do, but I want to hear
The brilliant thing about that day was there's so many brilliant things about that day. First of all, I wasn't ever going to do the run because I was injured. But then I love a medal, so I'm a taker parter. I like taking part, and I love medals. I'm obsessed. I've got literally a drawer full of these big chunky medals, and they're all finishers medals. Anyway, so I wasn't going to do the run. And then I decided that I'd done the swim, I'd done the bike, and actually I only had to run I think it was a half marathon. It was a long way, but I was going to do it. Anyway, I complained furiously and did all that thing when my husband couldn't see me, walked up the hills. It's being a right pain. Eventually I finished. It took me ages and I don't know how long. Went home, and was really pleased that I had my finisher's medal. And then they phoned me up the next day and they said, "Louise, you do realize you've won your age group?" And I'm like, "Oh, are you kidding?" And they're like, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited." I had a prize, had a little thing that I've still got on my desk. And then I said, "Oh my gosh, that's so amazing." I was like, "How many people in my age group?" And they go, "You."
You'll take it. You'll take that one.
I wouldn't have won it if I hadn't finished. Anyway, I just love that. But that's for me, that's what's most important, is it's the taking part. And it's finishing as well is important, isn't it?
And from Portaloos to walking up the hills, as they say, hiding from your family, take us to killer whale infested waters.
Oh gosh. So that's I think that is my favorite race of all time. So that was called so I went from Olympic distance triathlons straight to extreme triathlons. And extreme means I'm sure you know this, is point to point. So you do your swim 3.8k, then you do your bike 180k, and then you do your marathon, and you end up an enormously long way away from where you started. And obviously the kind of most well-known one of those is Norseman. But there's another one called Patagon Man. And I spent one of my most happy years living in Patagonia. And it just happened to be that where the race was where I'd lived, in the middle of nowhere, in this most beautiful glacial valleys. And I signed up. That was my 50th birthday present to myself. was to go and do an extreme triathlon. And it was incredible. But I was terrified because you start on a ferry. The ferry leaves at the dock at 4 a.m. in the pitch black dark. They drive out into the middle of this beautiful fjord with surrounded by glaciers and white-capped mountains. And there were orcas swimming in the fjord. And I wasn't convinced, but I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be eaten by an orca. And then comes this kind of like rational Louise will go, which was like, okay, so there's 200 swimmers, like if they're going to eat anybody, why would they eat me?
But why wouldn't they eat you?
Yeah,
what if you're the one at the back that's just the easy
oh yeah,
picking?
and then I was the one at the back, typical. So I was the one at the back because I'm really paranoid. I get really, I get really affected by the cold. And I've got Raynaud's. So I was like, everybody's been sprayed down on the ferry, on the deck of the ferry with cold water so they can acclimatize. I'm like, I'm not having any of that. I'm going to be as cold as I'm going to be, cold for as least as I can be. So anyway, so I'm waiting. They all get sprayed down and then they're all jumping in. I'm like, I'm also not going to, why would I jump in first? I mean, there's orcas and it's cold. Anyway, so I left it a bit. I was probably out of 200 people. I was probably one of the last 10 to jump in. And I jumped in and unbelievably, literally, and as I came up, the klaxon for the start of the race goes off. And I realized that everybody else has been swimming to the start and they're like 200 meters in front of me at the start. And it was amazing though, because I was, as I say, really scared about the orcas. And I literally went in, came up, took a breath and was like, this is going to be amazing. It just like something in my mind just like completely blew my mind. And I knew it was going to be amazing. And it was amazing. And what was funny about getting in at the back is that everybody was being swept by the current, right? Because I was at the back, I could see where they were going. So I just went straight for the marker and came out something like in the top 15.
So, seasoned campaigner,
there's an advantage of being a bit rubbish.
No, not at all. Not at all. Since your world's changed from not being on the sofa, have you obviously, I bet you get lots of opportunities presented to you and things like that, and you've done I'm a Celebrity and you've got the podcast and things. Are you good at saying no? Was that difficult at the start? Did you think you had to keep yourself busy, or what were you like when you actually stepped away?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a curious thing, and it's a bit like jumping off that ferry in Patagonia. Is you jump and you don't know quite how you're going to land, and I sort of think I still don't sort of know the answer to that. I've had an amazing time. I've been writing a book, which I can't tell you too much about, but comes out in May, which is super exciting. I literally finished that this week, and that's been I think you'll like it. It's got lots of adventures in it. So that I've been doing that, and there's lots of other things. I've been able to be much more creative. I think that's what it is, which has been great. And then of course you have the sort of, you just like, I remember one very key moment when I decided I was going to give up, and then I'm going for a walk in one of my favorite places in Cornwall, and I just suddenly thought, oh, what have I done? I've just left this amazing job, and I'm not going to get paid anymore. I mean, this is the most ridiculously stupid thing I've done in my whole life. And there are those moments still when I just go, oh, what have I done? But actually, it's been the best decision I could have possibly taken. And I'm on a journey, and I don't know the final destination, but it's been super fun.
And the time with your family, the time at home. The
Oh
time
my gosh, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's been. We're coming to Scotland actually. We're coming on a trip. Well, we're coming up anyway this weekend, but I've got a big trip planned around. I'm going to go and find some bothies. Very excited about that. Cool. Bit nervous.
Are you going to run between them?
No, I'm going with my husband. He can't run at the moment, so we'll walk. Okay. Otherwise I would. But yeah, no, it's time with them, amazing time with them. And they're at university now, and they just, one of them, I literally heard the dog barking, has just turned up again. So yeah, it's been wonderful and super. They're different, your children, when you get to this age. They're such free spirits, and you don't have to have so many responsibilities, but you still got to be there available when stuff happens.
Absolutely. And just to finally, to keep you not too much
Sorry, I just talk so much. You're talking about my favorite things.
Oh, hopefully this rolls onto something today. Her Spirit podcast, your other podcast. Yes. Yeah. Tell me about that, because that's a very interesting show. I've not listened to too much of it, but obviously the topics, when you see the list of guests and everything that's been going on.
Yeah, so Her Spirit is very much some of the points we've been talking about here. It's a community, and it's all about trying to encourage women to remove those barriers, whatever they might be, whether you don't want to get in a pool because you don't feel happy about how you look, or whatever it is. Remove barriers and help women kind of, a lot of it actually, get back into exercise, get back into moving. And it's everything from, couch to 5K or whatever it is, lots of different things. So at the moment, I've just literally finished, before I talked to you, another second episode of this year's podcast. And we've got two women who are on an incredible journey. Then one of them wants to do their first sprint triathlon. The other wants to do their first 10K. And what we do is we talk to them, we help them, we coach them, and, you know, just hopefully encourage them to do it. And they're amazing. They're doing brilliantly, and help other people just, you know, kind of crack open that door and go, oh, actually, maybe one of them's doing her first park run. She's never done one before. You know, maybe this is for me. Maybe there's something that I can find that is for me, and it's going to be okay. And it will actually make me feel a lot better about myself in lots of different ways.
How have you taken to the effect that you've had people, or the effect you've had on people that have changed and realized that later in life they're actually capable of what they always didn't believe in themselves?
Oh, I mean, you know, those are the messages. I think I had one yesterday, somebody who's read my book. And those are the things. That's not why I do it, but it's incredible to see what people, you know, it can be, you know, it's like that sort of virtuous circle, isn't it? Which I sort of do by mistake, really. But you know, to see other people going and doing, you know, people have done Patagon Man because I've done it, or people have taken up triathlon because I've done it. And that's just fantastic. If I can just pass a little bit of that magic that I find in it onto anybody else, it's brilliant. And then, you know, for example, just even being on those Doddie rides and stuff, just being able to sort of share it is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So hopefully I'll carry on doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. And I can't wait to meet up in person on Saturday.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
It's Saturday. I'm going to see you on the boat on the Britannia, as everyone sort of gets together, as Doddie does, brings us all together.
Yes.
Funds for the battle against MND. I can't wait.
And tell me, what do I need to know? What do I wear?
What?
It's such a girl question, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm wearing. And I'm
what are you wearing?
I'm hosting it. I think I just smart casual, probably. Just turn up smart casual and I can't go wrong. Surely.
I'll wear some trainers. I must need trainers.
I should really have my snood.
Where's my snood has not arrived.
You'll get a snood when you get
Will
there.
I? Okay, because
I'm sure there'll be Rob Wainwright. Rob Wainwright will
he'll sort me out. I've ordered it, but it's not arrived.
He'll sort you out with one, and then from there it'll go. 3 hours will fly in the team. But what's your husband's name?
David.
Yeah, so he's in your team.
Is he in my team?
Yeah.
Does he have to be?
Does he know he's rowing?
He went
I read the teams and I was like,
he went to the gym today to just check he can row, and he can row.
He just went once. No,
that's all he's done. He literally went for 10 minutes today. I mean, I haven't rowed at all, so he's done 10 minutes more than me.
Wait until I get him his first row and I say, Louise says you were only started training on Tuesday.
God's honest truth. And he probably spent more time in the sauna than he did on the rowing machine.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it's you know what it's like for Doddie, as we always say, it's for getting out there, it's for getting us moving.
Oh, it's so exciting.
DoddieAid.com. Because Louise, I'll release this as soon as I can, get it out there. Let's try and get the momentum building, people directed towards DoddieAid.com.
Yeah.
Raise the funds, and people can still sign up for the app, log their miles through running, through everything that they do. So it's been fantastic so far. And that's a reminder to me, I need to go and log my miles because I haven't logged this week. Please do. That would be great. I will. Oh, thank you. It's so lovely to meet you. I cannot wait, I think, until Saturday. It will be fantastic. You'll be absolutely fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Louise, a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, you take care. See you later.